All right, we are back, and Tigerhite's getting on his soapbox because there is a lot to talk about. Well, I'm not going to talk about too much of the Tuesday night stuff. We will on your segment. So, let's talk about Raw. We had a 1.557 instead of a 1.511 million, and it was a 0.3 demo instead of a 0.43 demo instead of a 0.48 demo. So higher in views, lower in demo. What does that mean? It means that they just didn't have their target audience, but that's okay. The tag team champions are being defended on more of a consistent basis because we had this match, and then they also defended them on SmackDown, and they're also defending them next week on Raw. So in this match was actually pretty damn good, but you can't go wrong with any of them. Becky Lynch and Tegan Nox had their women's championship match. It was fine. Drew McIntyre is still being a pseudo heel, and I am so digging it. And also, Seth freaking Rollins will be facing Drew McIntyre at Crown Jewel for the World Heavyweight Champion. That's 100% a thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like Ricochet is going to be in a rivalry on a consistent basis with Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, yep.
So that's going to be awesome. Bronson Reed will be facing Gunther, I think, next week as well for the Intercontinental Champion. That should be a lot of fun.
Would be a very good Haas match.
And they are still pushing Ivar. They had a Viking Rules match against Kofi Kingston. Of all the Viking Rules matches, it was the weakest, but Ivar stood tall. At the end of the day, they're still doing the singles push, and I am all for a singles push Ivar.
This is what happens when Triple H is put fully in charge of creative.
You see, I like it when they do these matches where a tag team, like the healthier partner, does not necessarily have to be out of the off shelf because the other person is injured.
Right.
It's so weird that they do that. All right. NXT. We had a 921,000 next to 636,000. It was a 0.3 demo instead of a 0.18. A significant difference in both.
And there was an obvious reason as to why, because there were a number of big stars on this show.
Yes. The people are saying that Braun Breaker was buried by The Undertaker because he took a choke slam. I have no... Do people not know what buried means? That was not...
Right.
It was not a burial. Like, how is that a burial?
It's not like The Undertaker wrestles anymore.
He's not wrestling. So why bother saying that? Braun Breaker is going to be fine. Carmelo Hayes got a huge bump in his stock with all of this stuff. Cody Rhodes announcing that there will be a men's breakout tournament. Thank God. And then also and then the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic will be returning. So that is great.
And he was also the general manager for the night.
Yes. Everything was basically announced, so he was just there for whatever. LA Knight, was special guest referee, too, for the main event. And we had Dane Palmer, Lola Vice in the women's breakout, but there was only one instead of two matches, or three. So that's all well and good. It was not as grandiose as I expected it to be.
But that's fine. This is NXT. This is the developmental.
Now let's talk about Dynamite. Dynamite was absolutely destroyed. They were sent back to Wednesdays with the tail between their legs. 609,000 instead of 800, and then it was a 0.26 instead of a 0.28. So obviously the demo was better for. It was a little bit closer than I thought it was going to be as a part of demo, but they were eviscerated, at least with ratings. But also keep in mind is that, I don't think it affects AEW fans because they are a cult, but for WWE, also keep in mind that they were also competing against the NHL's opening games.
Yes.
So there was that.
Yeah, and same with Monday. Monday, you're also competing with Monday Night Football. That's why you're not getting as much of the demo as you're expecting because it is football season as well.
I will say that Raw is holding up quite well with viewers, though.
They are.
I mean, it's not like the big drop that it usually is. It's actually still pretty...
But again, I think they're bringing a lot of non-demo people.
Right. No, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's fine. So, there you go. Brian Danielson and Swerve Strickland had a pretty damn good match overall. Edge and
Adam Copeland.
I'm going to do that for the rest of time. Adam Copeland and Luchasaurus had a match. I have no idea who designed Adam Copeland's gear, but they need to be fired immediately. That shit was ass. I think I drew better when I was 13. No, not even 13. Probably when I was 8.
Yeah.
Now, that's coming from me, who literally was called an art prodigy, but that's beside the point. Chris Jericho and Powerhouse Hobbs had a fun match because Powerhouse destroyed Jericho, so good for AEW to put newer stars over at the end of the day. Ray Phoenix and Orange Cassidy had a international championship match. Orange Cassidy won that.
Thank
God.
Oh, God. And now we're going to have a title match every fucking week with Orange Cassidy.
Again.
Yep.
Great. Fantastic.
Great. Fantastic.
Like, why do you think that's better? That's not any better. And then Hangman Page and Jay White had a match. I do like that Jay White is picking up wins still because they are trying to build him as a credible contender. And that's all I'll say about that. We will cover the rest of AEW and the Meltdown later. Impact Wrestling had 97,000 people instead of 110. It was a .01 instead of, well, a .01. So a little bit less of a little bit of a dip.
I think with the beginning of the NHL season, I think a lot of people are probably tuning into hockey.
Was there hockey?
Oh yeah, there's hockey every day now. But I mean,
did Dynamite or Wednesday? Was that the MLB playoffs? Is that why they moved to Tuesday?
So yep. And then Thursday is just a continuation of opening games and contests for all the sports leagues. So we're just going to see that for the rest of the year.
Just expect that, especially with MLB because it's the playoffs.
And then once MLB is done, of course, then you have Thursday Night Football too.
Yep. It's going to be lots of fun.
Yeah.
So Impact Wrestling, Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian had a 2 out of 3 falls match. It was great. These two really put in the work. They paced it excellently. I was so happy about this. It looks like this is the final Impact of Sami Callihan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, I think his career is, not his career, but his time in Impact is up, and I don't expect him to re-sign. I think he is probably going to go to AEW.
That would be a mistake. But
what more can you do?
He can do his gross shit there. It's fine, whatever. He tried in WWE, but he was a little bit different.
Yeah. He didn't fit the system.
My dude needs to lose some damn weight, though.
Yeah.
He is getting big, and that's not a positive.
And AEW is not going to.
They're not going to
help. How Keith Lee.
Yeah, exactly. But really, there wasn't a whole lot of things going on here. The Call Your Shot match. So Vladimir Kozlov made his debut in Impact. I mean, that's actually not a bad get because Kozlov also has done movies.
Yep.
So he is cross-promotional.
Yep.
And also, I think he is in the best shape of his damn life. So it's definitely a get. I mean, he was a former contender for the WWE champion. He beat The Undertaker clean a couple of times. So, I mean, this was 10 goddamn years ago, but there's still stock with him.
Right.
So, there you go. SmackDown.
I love the picture they used, by the way.
Right. I use it for the thumbnail, too. So this was $2.319 million last week and a .64 demo. I think SmackDown is going to be fine. There's nothing. There are no games on Friday, are there?
Well, I mean, besides the fact that hockey is pretty much on every single day.
Oh,
there might also have been MLB playoffs, but I don't follow the MLB.
This was last week, so I don't think the numbers NHL did not affect the numbers whatsoever.
No, yeah, not last week, but this last week they did, not the previous week.
Right. Unless it's a big game, I don't see.
I don't
see
know.
the needle moving a whole lot here.
Anyways, speaking of needle movers, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Roman Reigns had a stare down with Cody. He speared LA Knight. He had his thing with John Cena. So there are a couple of different rivalries there. But once again, this is a company, so the company wants to make money, and that's the way to do it. Have multiple things. Okay, this is your direction. Go.
Right.
So that's all well and good. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso faced A-Town Down Under for the tag team champions. It was way too early for A-Town Down Under to
A-Town Down Under. I love that.
That's what they call. That's what they call themselves. I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll go with it.
And it's Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Yes, that's what I thought.
And then we also have to talk about the Nick Aldis in the room.
Yes.
He made his debut not only in WWE, but as the SmackDown general manager. I think he will fit this spot really damn well. Yep.
And so now the general managers of Raw and SmackDown are both former NWA champions.
Yes, I think that's kind of cool. But there you go. Pretty Deadly made their return to action during the show. They are just fantastic. I love Pretty Deadly so much.
Yep.
They have a fluidity that I just cannot describe. It's great. Go out of your way and watch a Pretty Deadly match. It's just boom, boom, boom. It's one person is moving. It's crazy. And then Bayley and Zelina Vega actually had a surprisingly fun match, and that was really all that happened on SmackDown.
All right, let's talk about this collision.
Okay,
So you're having a pretty big conversation with yourself about whether or not you want to continue this show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really to the point where I'm like, this is going to go to the way of Rampage. It is the exact damn thing on Saturdays. And
Yep, it's the same thing on Friday and Saturday.
yeah, it's the same damn thing. Why bother? Yeah, there are some exclusive people like Andrade El Idolo, Miro, Ricky Starks primarily wrestles here, but is that enough for me to justify caring?
Right.
Other than that, there's no exclusivity.
Right.
Other than like a handful of people. The reason this show was made is not there anymore.
Right.
It's just another show.
Right.
And I'm that damn close. I mean, as soon as I start saying, let's get through this, that's when it's time to stop covering it. I would
Right.
rather utilize the time on my Saturdays for 1,000 other things. Hell, I might do like a rotating thing where I will watch different indie shows and cover those. I feel like that would be cool and different and unique.
Yeah.
Instead of watching literally Dynamite Light.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. Anyways.
Christian Cage and Bryan Danielson had a good match, arguably, but they know what they're doing because they were trained by a company who is a company.
Right.
Chris Statlander and Sky Blue had a surprisingly good match. But
that's surprising.
But Sky Blue sort of churning to the dark side because she got sprayed in the face by the House of Black is a mistake.
Yeah.
They already have female representation with Julia Hart, and Julia Hart is a perfect person in that role. Do not add Sky Blue. She would be lost in the shuffle with the group as it stands. Don't add her. It would be the dumbest thing ever. And they're teasing it, and I don't like it. Adam Copeland showed up, and people are sick and tired of him only talking.
Yep.
Also, I think this was the 5th time that we've seen him, and he's had one match in a span of 2 weeks.
Yep. And they announce him every single fucking show because apparently he's the game changer.
He's not the game changer. Watch it. Look at the numbers. NXT lost. And NXT beat them not head-to-head, literally not head-to-head, with no MLB, with no hockey, with no nothing. And this was his Dynamite debut. And NXT still beat them. Mm-hmm. What and where? And I like Adam Copeland, but this is not CM Punk.
Right.
CM Punk was cross-promotional. Adam Copeland is a legend in wrestling.
Right.
I mean, he had the show, but he's not even doing that anymore, I don't believe.
No.
Like, what else? There's just nothing there. Willie Mack and Samoa Joe had a match. There were a few other matches. Kyle Fletcher is wrestling by himself once again because Mark Davis is out. I don't hate that at all, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So that was my soapbox. There's not really too much else to say about this show. It was just there. And Peanut Gallery, what are we talking about next?
Well, I think we alluded to it quite a few times, but we're going to talk about Tony Khan's meltdown.
Oh, God.